This video is part of a series on some exploratory movement where we're interacting with the ground. And so the keys on this is that we want to be intuitive, maybe playful, have some levity, not look for right or wrong. My demonstrations here are just examples. But what I want to do is just interact with the ground and move in lots of different ways. We're trying to reestablish intuitive and variable movement. So as adults, we often get stuck in similar patterns, and when things become painful, that actually can reinforce this lack of variability and this rigidity. So throughout, taking some just nice, relaxed, fluid breaths, and looking to soften and explore and sink into different positions. And even some pushing is okay too, some rotation, but there's no right or wrong. If one of the positions that you move into doesn't feel great, just move right on out and just note that. If you're having a day where pain or discomfort is a little higher, or for some reason this is uncomfortable or frustrating, just pause it and come back to it a different time. Give it a couple of minutes, but if you don't love it, pause it and come back to it. We're not trying to force anything here. This is not a workout. This is exploratory movement, trying to reconnect to our sense of what's happening in the body. And that can have a profound impact on how we feel as we move throughout the day. So I'm gonna start kind of kneeling here. I'm on a pad. If kneeling's uncomfortable, then start seated. That's totally fine too. So I'm gonna start kneeling. It feels good to sit back there, that's fine. If you want to sit kneel tall, that's okay. But I'm just going to start arms softening across the chest, just this gentle embrace. And I'm just going to start with some side to side motion. I got my eyes closed, up and down. I'll give a little shoulder roll, looking to feel what's the excursion of my shoulders. How high can they go up? How high can they go down? Can one move and the other move? Almost like a little kayak paddle. You can do that with your arms here. Taking some deep breaths, kind of exploring that. Coming down and maybe shifting hips side to side. Deep breaths, softening, sinking. And I'll just come to all fours, or if that's not comfortable, you can go on forearms. Either way. Forward back. Maybe we'll do a little crawl. So just crawl forward a little bit, feeling heavy into the floor. And then I'll push away from the floor. And then maybe a little crawl backwards. And I'll just come on my forearms as I go backwards. Reach one arm back, one arm forward. And I'm just making this up as I go along. And that's what I want you to do too. Maybe watch this video once, and then explore it on your own and get a leg out to the side in a sweeping motion. And I'm just feeling, what are my shoulders doing? What are my hips doing? What's my low back doing? Just trying to feel all of this as I interact with the ground. I can get into a seated position and just kind of explore same way. Not an aggressive stretch. If your low back is uncomfortable here, move out of it. But if it's all right, I can rotate, I can reach. So anything goes here as long as you're aware of what's moving and you're moving into what feels spacious or feels fluid or feels intuitively right, and you're not forcing into a position that doesn't feel right. So trust your intuition. We do all have it. We learn to move intuitively by watching others, not by forcing it. And so that's what we want to reestablish here. I'm getting a little stretch on my toes and ankles. A little more crawling. I'll crawl to the side. I got a limited space, but you can use all the space you have. Legs to the side, arm to the side. And so just play around 3-5 minutes. Longer. I got another one of these with rolling. And so looking to see, can we reestablish some gentle rotation, some torso movement, some scapular movement, some hip movement. We're getting some blood flow, some circulation, some breathing. And don't force anything if it's painful. I know I've said that a few times, but that's the overarching principle. We're using the ground and our body to kind of guide us and reestablish this proprioception, this kinesthetic learning, this kinesthetic awareness in a way that hopefully is the opposite of rigid and structured and forced, but more as exploratory with hopefully a sense of play, maybe even levity as you go through it. And again, if it's not feeling right, just give it a pause and come back to it.